Hey everybody, thanks for clicking on this video. We have another Hawk Talk here for you today. I have here with me Principal Darren Siemens and Mr. Kilzer. Thank you very much, board member, coming in, and it's really great that we can see some unique faces, some new faces here to kind of mix it up a little bit. But we're going to be going over the school board meeting. We're going to kind of summarize things for the meeting of March 18th, 2026. Thank you guys for coming in.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So moving forward into kind of, we kind of skim over a couple things. There's a lot of things that we repeat every time, consideration of bills and going over previous minutes, and then also to some of the financial reports and things like that. We kind of go over those because usually those are, no news is good news kind of a situation.
Correct. And this time we're probably going to go a little more in depth because if you remember the last podcast we did, we talked about how the ACR had representation there with Mrs. Fink. Did an awesome article. Again, I just can't say enough how nice it is having her down there and the work that she's putting out with her articles in the community. She was not able to make this meeting, so we'll probably go a little more in depth with this and get it out. And then she'll be looking at the reports so she can kind of write an article too for the ACR. So this one will be a little more in depth than the last podcast we did.
Absolutely. Awesome. So then let's kind of just get right into it. I'm going to skip over financial reports and go right into miscellaneous business. On the docket here, we got superintendent and secondary principal report. What do we got?
So that's my report there. So I'll kind of just give an overview of some stuff. And people are some of these themes, they're on my report for a long time. Anyone that is in our community knows that we don't have in-town plumbers, things of that nature. So some of the building and maintenance side of the things we talk about, it takes literally months, half a year to a year sometimes to get these things remedied. So on the elementary side of the building, we're still struggling with some piping in the steam tunnels. The good news is we do have Chris Schwab with Core Engineering. He was actually involved in a project 12, 13 years ago with the CTS. So he's kind of that HVAC engineer where he's here inspecting the work that was completed under his guidance with CTS and following through and helping us figure out with CDR out of Dickinson what's going on. Actually, we found out the pipes in the tunnel of the 1950 edition are new pipes, and those are the ones that we feel are failing. So why are they failing? When they're only 12, 13 years old. Realistically, that's going to be something that we're going to have to probably really tackle in the summer. And it's just kind of the nature of again, we're dealing with a company that's trying to be as supportive as they can, but they're representing and working in Western North Dakota, not just in Hettinger. Another big thing that popped up was the district staffing. This time of the year, we're always reviewing numbers for the following year, like doing projections for 3-5 years out. And again, it's one of those things to where we have the need to add some teachers to the building, whether that's on the elementary side or whether we're looking at some electives on the high school side. The priority is the elementary. It really is. The foundational blocks for education start in the elementary. So when we can split those classes, because we have all the box checked that say, hey, well, we really want to take this class of 20, 22, 24 and split them. I think it's very important that we do that at a young age so we can have a stronger impact on the education. The problem we're having is nobody wants to be a teacher. And that's a national trend right now. Not to get political, but we could spend hours talking about why that is. But honestly, I'll just our country has devalued education and the state of a teacher. And that's the world we're living in right now. So we can post openings, but until somebody applies, that is what it is. So the negative impact of that is that we know there are situations where we would like to split classes, but we don't have the personnel to do that. So then you got to ask yourself, what are we doing for supports for the kids? What are we doing for supports for the teacher who's we know is teaching more kids than what we would like to teach in an ideal situation?
Yeah.
So again, the district is always looking at these things. We've been very fortunate in the past to be able to meet these needs, and I see that changing due to the simple fact that there are not young folk graduating from college with teaching degrees.
With those trends.
Yep. Exactly.
Yep.
So the district staffing thing, I think, is going to be a need continually now for the next decade, to be honest with you. So if you're interested in being a teacher, we would love to have a conversation with you. There's a lot of different ways. There's parent-educator training that you can do. Right now in the state of North Dakota, it is the easiest to become a teacher. That's a very bad way of saying that. It's easier now than it's ever been because of the shortage. If you have any kind of education at the college level, even an associate's degree, those are things that we can build on and work towards getting you licensed in the state of North Dakota. So
absolutely. Yeah. And one thing, just to kind of jump on that, from my own experience, I started here as a para and luckily had the opportunity to be a teacher. And, the need is there. And if you're in between jobs, or you're looking at something or doing something different, and let's say you don't have the credentialing, even just doing that para job gets you a great taste and you get connected with those kids. So, I mean, it's there.
You're the perfect example, Joel, of how you can go from a para to an actual licensed teacher with contracts and the benefits of that and all that. And honestly, it is still a good gig. There are a lot of pressures put on our teachers in education. And that is what it is, I guess, whatever.
Well, I don't think there's a perfect job.
No, there isn't. But anyway, we're trying to do the best we can. We have a great staff that do phenomenal things, and we have a need for more, and hopefully we can get some applicants for that. Otherwise, we did award a concrete bid. We're going to be replacing concrete on the remainder of the south side of the building, the east side and the north. Honestly, I mean, you're on board president. Maybe this would be a good chance to kind of break you in here a little bit on that. I know this is something that the board has been very passionate about as far as the upkeep of the campus. So,
yeah, we've been trying for a few years now to continue with our concrete projects, and we finally feel like we're really moving in the right direction. We're gonna get all three sides of the school is going to be completed with new concrete, and I think it's going to really give the school a facelift that we've been needing.
You bet, and fix some of those areas of trouble. The north side of the gymnasium, the curb is literally gone. If we ever get rain again, we could. Possibly you could have a flooding concern by that north gym entrance because the curb it's non-existent, and it's old. It's broken. It's falling apart. I know when we're trying to get people to come to our school for events, there's always a concern about someone falling on the cement because it's all broke apart and there's obstacles there. So it's going to look nice, and it's going to help make it a more safe environment.
Yep,
too.
And not only the concrete, but also the lighting project that we started there on the south side. We're hoping to continue that around and bring some lighting into those really dark corners.
Yeah. And my last little tidbit on this is just it's been interesting to see the cost escalate over the years. I remember way back 15 years ago there was talk of concrete bids, and it was more when I was on the city with the safe routes to school and things like that. And it doesn't get any cheaper. The costs are always going up, and I get it. That's nobody's fault. That's nature. That's how it goes. So the fact that we're in a position as a school district to hammer this thing out in the long run, it's gonna save us money because hopefully this district doesn't have to worry about these areas for another 40 years. So concrete bids, of course, the gym floor project. Dirksen Floors will be in here Easter Monday. They will be starting to sand down the floor, and it'll be a sanding that'll take off, of course, the scheme that's on the floor right now, and then we'll be repainting that with the new scheme that we have coming out. So we're excited for that. Again, thank you, Joel, for all the work you put in your creativity with doing all those specs and the vectors. All that good stuff. Go ahead.
No, it's been really fun. I'm really thankful that I got the opportunity. Been working with a lot of people trying to bring things to light. Excited for that being kind of finished and see that final product. It's one of the things that, again, throwing it out there, living in a small town, it's really cool to be able to be a big fish in a small pond where everybody can kind of fit. You know what I mean? So it's just been a cool opportunity to be able to use my skills and yeah, all that stuff. So
Nice.
It's been really nice. So
Yes, and we will have an activity. I know we talked about this the last time, but Mr. Fordall's busy running everywhere. We kind of just say hi as we see each other in the hallways. But we will have an activity, kind of a christening or ribbon cutting, so to speak, where we'll have some fun things going on in the gym once that paint scheme is completed.
yeah, we'll make sure that we have all the necessary equipment in case if anybody goes down.
Right? Yeah. We'll make sure West River Health Services is here.
Yeah,
with their,
that way when someone's out of breath,
Yeah, right.
we're good to go. So
So obviously we're talking about some form of a tournament-y, sportsy thing going on in there. So anyway,
stay tuned for
yeah,
that.
stay tuned. And then the last thing I have on here is honestly the board retreat idea. And the reason why I feel that that's so important is that there's always so much stuff on the backside that as a school board we need to talk about, besides the daily fires that pop up, besides the deferred maintenance, besides the things that we always see at the typical meeting. And this is an example of that. This is an initiative to where, you know what, we need to get the board members and allow them the opportunity to be more involved in the face of the school district. So, I mean, we're going to be doing a board retreat. Looks like it's going to be in June. That'll give us an idea to talk about some of the long-term plans we have and make sure that our day-to-day operations fall within those plans. How are we communicating with the public? How is our strategic plan working with all the other facets of finances, things of that nature. So it's going to be nice. I've been an administrator here in some capacity for 10 years. We've never had a board retreat. So I look forward to that.
Very cool.
So
Yeah, thanks. I guess I just speak on that. We're all looking forward to being able to get together and really dig into some of those different ideas of how we're going to project the future of Hettinger Public School and do so with open conversation in a way that's not constrained by parliamentary procedure and just a lot of open discussion. I think we can make some really good headway on a very wide variety of subjects that we're going to be talking about. So
you bet. So that's the end of my report there, Mr. Jake.
All right, so moving on. We have the elementary principal report, and then also that moves on to athletic and business as well.
Okay, I'll just start with Mr. Erickson's report here. A few of the highlights we talked about were the kindergarten registration on March 25th at 5:30.
So ultimately, by the time this comes out, that'll probably already be over. But again, the registration, the pre-registration, it's a very important aspect in trying to figure out what is that class size going to be. We do have preschool here, but we know that not all families have kids participate in preschool. So we can't just walk down and watch Mrs. Scogan's preschool and say, okay, we got 13, 14 kids coming to kindergarten. It's a way to let us know exactly who is coming forward. Does it match the numbers that we were projecting? And then again, what does that mean? What does it mean for curriculum? What does it mean for staffing?
Yep, and then right on top of that here, we have preschool screening also to be held April 10th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Kind of the same idea. We just get a good idea of what's up and coming. Yeah. The fourth graders participated in NAEP testing on March 1st.
Yeah, so you don't hear NAEP testing a lot here because it's on a rotation. I think it's probably been, I'm going to say a year, but it's been 8 to 10 years since you get selected by that institution, by NAEP. It's not a test we do every year. When you get selected, you cannot opt out of it as a school. They come in, I think our testers were from, if I remember, like Rhode Island, and I mean, they were not, yes, it's like they flew into the state of North Dakota, probably the first and last time that they'll be here. And they came in and they had all their testing materials, their computers, their stuff. And it was, they had their own, what they wanted for lunch. And yeah, you take the NAEP and you pray the kids take it seriously, and away we go. So, we look forward to those results. Traditionally, we do well in that test, but again, it's one test, one class, one moment in time. And we always know there's a lot of things that impact those scores in that situation.
Yeah, here's the next one. Here is an exciting one. It's kind of fun. Mrs. Resner's fourth graders were the North Dakota state champion in the Reed Bowl. This competition was sponsored by Read with Malcolm, the youth literacy initiative of NFL Super Bowl champion and children's book author Malcolm Mitchell.
Yeah, that is
From what I hear, that's the second time that we've been champions.
back to back.
Back to back.
Back to back.
Yeah. So
Three-peat next year, baby.
yeah,
Three-peat.
absolutely. So great job for her.
This year's math meet will be held on April 15th in New England. Let's see.
You know, that last part, and I don't know if I've ever said this, the amount of meals being served out of the cafeteria.
Right. The lunchroom served 982 breakfast meals and 3,520 lunch meals for a total of 4,502 meals in February.
You bet. Might be the busiest restaurant in town.
Yeah.
I mean, really, really could be.
Yeah. So, kudos to our lunch staff who's just working their tails off. In there.
Yes. Every now and again, I like when I make this meal at home, that is like, hey, that's really good. I did a good job on that meal. I should start a restaurant. I come to school the next day and I watch those poor ladies and I quickly have my hopes crushed upon the sands of reality saying, I don't know how you would make a meal for 300 and some kids. I don't know how you day after day and still be sane. And they do it and they pull it off.
With a smile on their face.
Yes.
So thank you again.
Yes.
All right, and then moving in, it looks like we're done with the elementary report, athletic director report, and business manager updates.
Yeah, you bet. I'll kind of hit the AD report. I mean, honestly, a lot of it, it's just, hey, spring is here, spring has sprung, sports are started. Today is Tuesday. Our high school track is heading to Bowman. Golf has started, baseball has started, elementary volleyball has started. The race is on, and again, this is one of those things to where it's a countdown to summer. And I know for the kids, it's a countdown to summer break. Hooray. For the school and the educators and the staff, it's a countdown to where we have each day one less day to get the job done, to make improvements, to make an impact, to give experiences. So it's an exciting countdown, but different for the students, different for the staff. Other things that are going on, of course, band is competing at Region 10. So we'll hopefully have some kids that are qualifying for some state competitions there. FFA has their spring competitions taking place. I know yesterday they were gone off of campus. I actually got a phone call this morning from another FFA advisor in the state saying, hey, you guys are doing well. And it's like, when the phone call came in, I thought, oh, what am I going to hear? It's like, what happened? What happened? And it's like, hey, I'm just reaching out because you guys, typically we don't hear good things in education, which probably goes back to, the whole opening statement where nobody wants to be a teacher. So it was nice to hear. It was nothing but kudos on our kids and props given to Mr. Buckmeyer and the things that he's trying to get done. Knowing that sometimes not all of our hopes and aspirations come to fruition, but his colleagues and his peers in the FFA are seeing the good work that the kids are doing, and it was good to hear that. So, and then the co-op committee, and I'm going to kind of let Presidente talk maybe about co-op on anything you want to share.
We're kind of in the process of taking a look at our co-op agreement and just trying to bring it forward with modern language that represents where we are at the current situation. And I think we're looking for a healthy, updated co-op agreement, and I think we're making some really good progress. And we've been working together with Scranton, and we'll have meetings here coming up, and we'll keep on working together, getting an agreement that everybody's happy with.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, we're coming up on the 250th birthday of the United States, and maybe that's the only document that can last 250 years is our Constitution. The reality that a co-op committee or a co-op document that involves two very passionate communities, we finally realized that we need to have these conversations on a more timely manner, and open conversations. And I like that because we don't have the time to play cat and mouse because we're afraid of saying what we want to say. And that goes for both sides of the co-op. I mean, both sides have their ideas and have their things they're passionate about. And when we're afraid of saying those things in a meeting, all that does is kick the issue down the road. We're kicking the can. And we can't do that because this involves our kids. This involves our youth. It involves finances. It involves community pride, all that stuff. So to be able to come to a meeting and allow these board members to be open and honest and not worry about the ramifications of the public is extremely important. Extremely important. And for the last 8 months, they've been able to do that. So I thank the public for allowing these board members to be able to have these open conversations and not freak out about what's being said, because the minute you freak out, everybody stops talking and then nothing gets done. And we just continue to do the same old stuff. And I think we all realize the same old stuff doesn't always work.
I would say that a lot of what we are changing is currently the procedures that are currently taking place, and we're just getting it into writing. So
Yeah, it helps with
there may be some changes, but a lot of it is just things that really make sense of what we have already been doing.
Yeah, perfect.
So
that's it for the AD.
That's pretty much it.
I don't know, business manager. I don't have a lot to report from the business manager side. I mean, I'm working with Mr. Fordall every day. So a lot of times it's like this stuff is like, well, we've been talking about it for a month or the last 6 months. I know that this year's election is being run at the courthouse. So of course we had to sign a joint powers agreement, which is fine. Off-year elections we run them here at our campus. So that's all I have really from the business manager.
Okay. That kind of moves us over to the committee reports here. We obviously got a couple here. Finance and co-op. It kind of sounds like we went over co-op a little bit already. Why don't we touch on finance real quick?
Okay. From the finance side, I'll be honest, things are looking good. We're doing well as a school district. We've been very lucky over the last 5 years to be able to do some investments with some COVID money and some things that traditionally isn't available for schools. So we have money that's going to allow us to do the cement project. We have money that's going to allow us to entertain the idea of doing some remodeling. Right now we're expecting in April here, there'll be a bid day where we will have contractors on campus. It's looking like it's going to be April 14th. So they'll be here checking out our science lab, our entrance, because those are projects that are going to be bid. Mm-hmm. And those bids, I think, are going to be due probably around the April board meeting. Okay. So we're going to know if those come in under budget to where we can move forward with some remodeling and making sure that our spaces are safe and secure, and that our science room, because it's used by every kid in their experiences here at Hettinger Public School, actually allow our science program to teach 21st century science. Yeah. And we're lucky because traditionally, we wouldn't have that money. I mean, this is once in a lifetime expenditure money that we have. And I feel the board and the finance committee and all these other committees are working really well, evaluating projects, saying yes and no. Other areas like we've talked about is the AV room and getting that to where it can actually be used for more than just a sit and get situation. So again, there's a lot of exciting things we're able to do because the district has been very proactive and smart in how they've invested money and used money.
Awesome. So moving forward here, we have policy committee.
I'll let Mr. Kilzer talk about policy.
All right. The policy committee has been hard at work, and they have brought multiple different policies just for updating, and we're kind of trying our best to go through the book, and I think we're doing a really good job. Thank you very much to the policy committee for keeping on bringing all these policies forward for us to take a look at. Many of these policies are required already by the state. Many of them we already have a good policy in place, and we just need to reapprove it. And we've been making good progress every meeting with multiple policies. So
they've been a busy bunch.
They have been.
Very much.
Yes. Yep. Anything, maybe any specifics
on that? No, I'm glad that that's not a daily function of mine. Having to go through policies. Awesome.
Okay, so that kind of closes policy committee, building and curriculum.
As far as the building committee goes, I think we've pretty much covered everything. We got the concrete bids, we got the construction bids going on, and that pretty much is going to cover that.
And then curriculum committee.
I'll kind of touch base on that. So obviously we're every year on the high school side of the building. It'd be nice to get to a point to where like, hey, this is our schedule, and maybe it doesn't change for 3 or 4 years as an entirety. And I think the reality is that's not going to happen because of the size of the school and what we're trying to do and give opportunities to our kids to have a variation of classes throughout their high school experience with us. Our electives they're always moving and changing. Our cores are going to stay put, right? And we have cores at certain levels of grade. So from a curriculum standpoint in the high school side, I know it can get frustrating because we'll run these kids through 3-4 different pre-registrations, and then summer happens and something happens, and it's like, well, hey, guess what? The thing we thought we were going to be able to do in May, we just found out in August we can't do it. And that happens. So I appreciate the flexibility of our parents and kids with that. And I feel the pain, and I get it. But again, it's all based on we're trying to do as much as we can with what we got. Go ahead.
Really quick. Just because I've seen in the last 3-4 years, obviously being part of like the CT and a lot of the extracurriculars here, but just from what I've seen, I just have to say that is actually a great problem to have. Because we are working very hard at offering so much here, so much diversity of options, especially in the extracurricular options. Is that what a wonderful problem to have? Is that we're trying to make so many things fit.
Yep.
So I just have to jump on and say it's been really cool to see how hard people are trying to bring more and more and new here.
You bet. And I know there's areas that we miss on. I mean, there are. I mean, right now we have a lot of the CTE, and then we have some dual credit that you can get on campus, and then there's some dual credit that you can do off of campus. And again, it's not a one size fits all. Right. And we try to accommodate to our kids' future goals after graduation as best as we can. And those goals are changing too. Right. I mean, it's very rare as a freshman to come in and say, this is what I want to do. And you graduate and it's the same thing. So ultimately, yes, Joel, we're trying to do as best as we can, but we do know we miss some things. I mean, we haven't had foreign language in person for a very long time. It would be a great thing to get. It's just finding the person that has that on their license. And sometimes that's just a really hard fit. The other thing with curriculum, of course, is we're seeing some of the negative things that happen with all the distance courses and the screen time that happens. So we have made some policy changes to try to not necessarily, it's going to come across as you guys are limiting experiences. We're trying to provide supports and make sure the kids are ready to do this and still allow the opportunity for parents to say, hold on a second, I think my kid can handle this. Can we talk about my kid specifically for an enrichment situation, right? Like, hey, my kid has the test scores. They could take this advancement course, but maybe they're like one of two. So we can't do the whole class just for 2, right? So there's options there. But again, we're kind of trying to wrap the kids up with more supports rather than just turning everything over to this idea of take it online. The elementary side, the CKLA Amplify English. I mean, I'm just going to really try to simplify this. Our English curriculum is new. The district made a very large financial purchase and investment in this program, and it's just a beast. It's really a beast. This curriculum is supposed to run anywhere from 90 to 120 minutes. And it's all based on sound philosophy and theory and education. We're just trying to figure out how does that look here at Hettinger. So we're not as far along in that process as I was wanting us to be at this time, and that's fine. You know, I've recognized that. We're going to make some changes on the implementation of that program to try to give our teachers time, because our teachers for so long have had to do their own curriculum because it wasn't there. Yep. We need to give them time to wade through this thing in all of its facets. So you're going to start to see some stuff. Some already have in the upper elementary. You're as a parent, you probably have seen some boost reading. You've maybe heard the word amplify. On the lower elementary, you haven't heard that very much yet because we haven't gotten to that point yet. But again, it's something I'm excited about, but it's going to take some time. And when I say time, we're probably honestly looking at 1 to 2 more years before we have the base core curriculum of that taken care of.
And on top of that too, I'm sure a person's wondering, well, why is this taking so long? Being that he's such a beast, we're doing a lot of test runs right now. Yeah. We're trying a lot of things, but the whole goal of this was obviously all the philosophy and all the stuff that you were talking about prior to, but also too, it's filling a lot of holes in the boat and making sure that as they progress from grade to grade, that there isn't any standard or anything that gets missed. And let's say first grade to second grade or second grade to third grade, when they transition, there's nothing that's missed. There's the transition piece. There's no holes in
continuity.
The boat. Yeah,
there's
absolutely.
continuity. There's continuity to it. The other thing we're seeing that's interesting with this, the theme. I mean, maybe this goes back to the theme of how education is changing in the United States. It's very scripted, and what I mean by that is this is telling you this step 1, step 2. And that's hard for teachers that are creative. That's hard for teachers that have been, hey, here's your book. Figure out how you want to teach it. Here's the state standards. Make sure it's aligned. All that kind of stuff. So to have a very scripted curriculum come in, it's kind of a shock and awe situation to where the elementary side is kind of, we don't have the one-room schoolhouses anymore. But realistically, those classrooms to where that one teacher teaches everything, it's kind of acting like a one-room schoolhouse because that teacher's in charge of all the curriculum and all the stuff, everything, the social, emotional, all that stuff. So to have a curriculum come in and say, this is going to tell you what to say, what to do, all this, sometimes that can be taken as a negative. And we're recognizing that. But the reality of it is this is where a lot of curriculum is going in the country because the makers of the curriculum realize people are not going to four-year university to be teachers. So they're trying to create a curriculum that you could have someone come in and you're paying them an hourly wage and they're teaching the class. And that's really a scary thing to understand. That we are at that point in education to where it's been devalued so much that the makers of the curriculum realize that we have to make this almost like an instruction manual and take away the creativity because that licensed teacher may not be there to teach it.
Yeah, so absolutely. So it is really, truly kind of a domino effect situation.
It is 100%. So,
anything else on the curriculum committee?
I think that's enough for now.
All right, sounds good. Moving on, we got 2 more underneath committee reports. We have transportation and negotiations.
I don't think either of these committees met in the last month, so nothing new to report there.
No.
All right, so that moves on to our unfinished business, which we have a whole slew of policies with a whole slew of letters. Do you guys want to kind of skim through those, or what do you guys want to do next?
What do you want to do, boss? I'll be honest. Most of these that are priorities right now are where they're our policy. So policies are there's required policies, there's recommended policies, there's supplemental policies. So they're doing our policy committee is doing a very good job focusing on the required first. And some of them, what we're finding is that our policy is the newest policy that's been passed. So it isn't necessarily we're doing the first reading, second, third reading. It's, hey, we have the right one. We need to mark that we actually reviewed it in March of 26.
Got it.
So, I mean, they're ranging everywhere from 504 things that are really there. Again, it's required stuff. There's really no input. Open enrollment, that's required stuff. There's really no input. The grievance procedures, they're required. I mean, so many of these things, this required stuff, it's been vetted by the lawyers at North Dakota School Boards Association. So we are going through the process of making sure ours is the newest rendition. And then in that point, if we feel there's discussion and clarifications we need, just so we're all aware of what it means, we have that discussion. So.
Okay, so that kind of concludes a majority of the unfinished business and some of the new business. So we've already talked about the co-op agreement. We've already talked about the cement bid. That leaves us with the last two pieces, which is superintendent evaluation and joint powers. So what do we got on superintendent?
Yeah, thanks. I'll take that, Joel. So as a board, we've been working hard to get a superintendent evaluation that really fits our school and our superintendent here. And twice a year we get together and evaluate, and this time around we have a new evaluation that I think we're all really happy with. It starts to give us a little bit better idea of the job that we're asking, and upon that the negotiations committee is working to get a good job description of, very clear expectations of what we have for our administrators. And so we've been working on the superintendent evaluation, and
and moving forward with that. And again, it's a lot of times when you hear evaluation, I mean, your hair in the back of your neck kind of prickles up, right? Because it's like, well, what are they going to say? What are they going to do? And it's a chance for constructive criticism. And it's also a chance to maybe say, okay, this is a spot we're doing well, but even the spots you're doing well in, are we complacent there, right? I mean, there's always room for improvement. This new evaluation actually has a spot where there's an opportunity for feedback from the board saying, hey, we'd like you to focus maybe a little more here, a little more there. I mean, one of those areas was kind of like, hey, district morale, right? So again, it's good to have that from the board, because sometimes it's like, am I seeing it and are they seeing it? And if we're both seeing the same thing, it's like, okay, this is something we got to work on, right? Are you seeing the trees or are you seeing the forest? So that evaluation is an opportunity for me to get feedback from the board and for them to really drive home like, hey, these are the things that we feel are going well, and these are the areas that you need to work on, because I mean, realistically, I believe in the lifelong learning, and there's always things you can do better. And that's all of us. So.
Awesome. So then, as far as I'm concerned, superintendent evaluation is covered, and then joint powers agreement. What is joint powers agreement?
So again, that was the deal brought forward because of the election this year taking place at the courthouse. Yep. So that was brought forward. I believe the county commissioners brought that forward, if I remember correctly, because all the voting's taking place there. So they need to have that agreement from all the entities that they are representing, i.e. the school, the city, right? All the election facets. So that way they have the permission to hold that at the courthouse, which makes it easier for everyone who's voting. Typically, this is the year where you get more people turning up at the polls. The off-year elections, of course, we hold our school board elections here on campus. So yeah, it's just the legalities of making sure all that's on the up and up.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, that kind of concludes everything. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming in. It's great to see some new faces, to hear some new voices. But our next meeting is going to be on April 15th, 2026. And thank you for checking out this video. You can listen to Hawk Talk on any platform that you need to. This is my usual spiel, as I always say. You got YouTube, you got Spotify, all the platforms. And make sure you subscribe to those or follow those wherever you listen to that. And have a great day.